This is Newsfighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to Newsfighters for today, Monday, February 24, 2020. I am your host, Michael Chamberlin. Top story of this morning for all you poll heads out there. The latest news poll came out.
Published in The Australian, the news poll shows on a two-party preferred basis, the coalition now trails Labor 49 to 51 following a 2-point turnaround.
There was a change in the Labor vote, which apparently has gone down. Also, you can see now that it is a even closer number there. Surprise, surprise. Albo's time as preferred Prime Minister may well be coming to an end.
Ah, yes, that long period between January 2020 and February 2020. Those were the days when, if there was a theoretical election, we may have preferred one footy-loving politician to be Prime Minister over another. Those were crazy days.
Albo's time as preferred Prime Minister may well be coming to an end. And I'd imagine after a $1.6 trillion idea that's going to run for, the next 10 elections.
If you couldn't tell what Paul Murray was talking about, okay, he's blaming Labor collapsing one whole point on their new, yet same as the old, climate plan.
Anthony Albanese's embraced a long-term carbon emission reduction target.
A net zero is carbon neutral.
A plan to make Australia a net zero emitter by 2050, which was Bill Shorten's policy too.
Which led ScoMo to come up with this inventive nickname for Albanese.
Anthony Albanese is just Bill Shorten 2.0.
Yeah, I reckon Bill Shorten's pretty outraged by that. He wasn't even Bill Shorten 1.0. Surely even his wife Chloe Shorten is walking around going, where can I get this upgrade? This old model is burnt out. Yes, Albo is keeping the same federal climate policy Bill Shorten took to the last election, okay, which is actually a pretty easy thing to do because all the states already have this policy, or even better.
The net zero emissions target for 2050 is pretty much locked in because every state and territory government has already signed up to the ambition.
Whoa, Labor adopting a policy we already have. Bravo, bravo. I hear the Shadow Ministry is actually meeting next week to discuss introducing the metric system. Okay, you didn't hear that from me. It'll never happen. Interestingly, Albo is trying to have his cake and mine it too.
Under Anthony Albanese's idea of carbon neutrality, Australia could still make billions exporting coal.
What about coal mining though? Will we still be doing that in 2050 at all?
Look, I suspect we will.
Yes, that's Albo on Insiders yesterday. They're promising to protect the jobs of future robot coal miners. Also during Insiders, former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, remember him? He was sitting at home pretending he was in a one-man episode of Gogglebox and frantically tweeting along with the show.
Malcolm Turnbull is live tweeting your show, David, so that's wonderful, good for Insiders. But he says, watching Insiders, hands ringing about how do we get to net zero by 2050. Bottom line is if we don't get there, the planet will be uninhabitable.
Woohoo! There's never been a more exciting time for a climate apocalypse. We're all going to die. Meanwhile, Sky News was very angry that a Liberal PM was watching the ABC.
The ghost is now apparently part of Extinction Rebellion.
Malcolm Turnbull, the ghost, is perhaps the greatest phony that we've seen in politics for a very long time.
Hey, guys, come on. It's not fair calling Malcolm Turnbull a ghost, okay? After all, most ghosts once had a backbone. Albo, however, is standing firm. He says this is a moral issue, not a political one.
Some things are beyond politics.
I don't think so, Albo.
Would never be as reckless and irresponsible as Anthony Albanese.
We're going down this ideological path. He is a man without a plan. He is all target and no plan.
I've never heard so much bullshit in my life.
Don't you love living in Australia where federal politicians can use the word bullshit on 7 p.m. nightly news? Liberal backbencher Ken O'Dowd there never heard so much bullshit in his life, and he sits in Parliament for a living, so that's saying something. Yes, the Coalition hates Labor's climate policy so much. They hate it so much. I've got to tell you how much they hate it. They hate it so much that it might actually become their policy one day.
Although a net zero emissions target may yet be coalition policy by the time leaders meet in Scotland for climate change talks in November.
I'm not ruling anything in or ruling anything out.
Yeah, it's just a bit like saying, I'm always forever going to be a vegetarian for the rest of my entire life, except maybe in November when I might change my mind due to international pressure. I love meat. Yum, 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 yum. The Labor leader, however, wants the conflict over climate change to end.
I think that Australians are sick of people arguing.
You might say that, but some Australians aren't. Like Coalition backbencher Barnaby Joyce and Labor's Joel Fitzgibbons. They were fighting it out on Sunrise this morning.
To zero net emissions by 2030, Barnaby. Get with the script, mate.
Cessnock, got
You're
smashed.
a Neanderthal.
Musselbrook, got smashed.
Get with the script.
You are about to lose.
Ringing the bell. They're really in full flight there. Thank you. Have a good week.
Oh my God, I think that's the only time I've ever wanted Kochie to start talking again. Those guys loved arguing so much that it actually spilled out of the studio like a bar fight.
The climate wars are heating up in Canberra with an angry argument in the corridors of Parliament between Barnaby Joyce and Labor's Joel Fitzgibbon.
What a load of rubbish. What an absolute load of pig manure. He's going to reach out to you. Why? He's going to reach out to the coal mines. Don't worry, fellas. We're reaching out to you.
Yeah, I reached out. I pressed mute on my TV. Where's Kochie when you need him most? Yes, Joel Fitzgibbon there. He walked up and crashed Barnaby's press conference like he's some kind of Kanye West wannabe. Sorry, Barnaby. I'm going to let you finish, but the neg was one of the best climate policies of all time. All time. So yes, Newspoll has Labor still ahead, but there was another question that grabbed Sky News' attention.
But here's what's interesting. What's the biggest cause for the recent bushfires? 56% of people say hazard reduction. 35% of people say climate change. I am so pleased, so prominently, front page of the national newspaper, that fact is there for all to see.
Paul, I agree with you 100%.
Former Liberal Senator Cory Bernardi doesn't believe that latest news poll at all, except for the climate denying bit, of course.
Political polls are treated with cynicism, and that's why I say they're spaghettified. They're all over the place.
Sorry, Cory? What was that?
They're spaghettified.
Spaghettified. Here's a fun fact. Don't look that up on Urban Dictionary. It doesn't mean what Cory Bernardi thinks it does. Anyway, back to you, Cory.
But polls about critical issues, such as what is the cause of these recent bushfires or what's the major contributor to it, where people give an honest opinion about it.
Okay, well, if that's true, how about this little poll from the Australia Institute last November, in which 64% of Aussies say they want us to be carbon neutral by 2050, and about the same number say we're already in a climate emergency. What do you think of that poll, Cory? Hey? Or are those numbers just a little bit
spaghettified
for you? This weekend is Sydney's annual Mardi Gras parade, a celebration of pride for the entire diverse LGBTQI community. Over the past few years, the event itself has become even more inclusive, expanding to embrace the LGBTQI GC community, with the GC standing for Giant Corporations. One giant corporation really thrilled to get more involved this year was ANZ. Last week, they released a controversial ad called Love Speech, aiming to promote the idea that words do hurt, explaining that homophobic slurs are still posted online more than 43 times per minute. To help combat this shocking stat, ANZ went ahead and released an ad full of homophobic slurs. Unlike ANZ, we'd like to warn you that you're about to hear offensive slurs.
So tell me what your name is.
My name is faggot.
Dyke.
Lezo.
Faggot.
Faggot was my whole childhood. Oof.
Happy Mardi Gras! The bank also developed a Chrome extension called the Hurt Blocker, which finds and replaces slurs online with celebratory emojis such as rainbows and unicorns, effectively ending homophobia once and for all. Good work, bank. This idea has been criticised as angry face emoji, poop emoji, another poop emoji, devil emoji, thumbs down emoji. The Hurt Blocker extension doesn't work on video, meaning that after installation you can still be confronted with homophobic slurs. For example, like in a horrible ad I saw from ANZ. There are all these homophobic slurs. I couldn't block them. There was a lot of backlash online, with many people finding the campaign upsetting and confusing. This forced ANZ to release a follow-up ad. Let's have a listen to it now.
Hi. I want to let you know that here at ANZ, we have listened to all your feedback. We've received thousands of tweets and social media posts telling us that we missed the mark. And we hear you. We hear that everyone online has been discussing our ad and that we received a large amount of media attention, giving us high numbers of engagement and free advertising, making this all completely worth it. For us. We've upset a lot of LGBTQI people, and so we now want to say sorry. Sorry to everyone else in the queer community that isn't on Twitter and missed us calling you triggering insults. That's why we are doubling down, extending our service to reach the rest of you. From tomorrow, you will be able to visit any one of our many branches around Australia and be called a slur face-to-face by one of our friendly customer consultants. If you can't make it to a branch, simply visit one of our many gay TMs converted for this new campaign. With each transaction, the machine will call you an appropriate slur.
I see you want to change your PIN. Have you tried changing your life instead, you filthy? Your card has been swallowed, just like you Mardi Gras you and
keep an eye out for our float at Mardi Gras this weekend. On it will be straight men in suits stuffing their pockets with profits made by making empty gestures to the community. Additionally, as the float passes by, the men will shout slurs at marginalised people on the sidelines. After Mardi Gras, we hope to continue to do better. And by do better, we mean come up with new ways to distract everyone from all our other corporate issues. Like the fact bushfire survivors have joined an environmental group in a claim against us, accusing ANZ of financing the climate crisis because we are one of the largest investors in fossil fuel projects in the country. But here at ANZ, we believe in equality. And nothing is more equal to us than the entire planet becoming unlivable for all humans, gay or straight. Words hurt, but not as much as the end of the world.
That's Newsfighters for today, folks. It was presented by myself, Michael Chamberlin. It was written by myself, Rebecca Shaw, and Dylan Behan, and written and produced and edited by Dylan Behan. Rebecca was actually also the voice in the ad. A few calls to action, folks, okay? Spread the word. Website, newsfighters.com. We've got the podcast email, podcast@newsfighters.com. Check out Twitter, @newsfighterspod. I'm going to see you soon. Have fun. Keep fighting the good fight. Bye for now.
This is Newsfighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.
Thank you. Have a good week.